For my Activating Identities and Futures assignment project, I have chosen to make a plasma gun. This subject used to be called EIF and I had chosen to learn a tornado kick for that assignment project last time. I was given an award for that assignment video, which is why I have also chosen to choose a harder topic, but to also do the same way of presenting my research and recordings. I have chosen to make a plasma gun for my IF project, because I myself am a creative person. However, I do not find myself to be super passionate about science. But I found this topic to be exciting and challenging to my creativity and thinking skills. It allows me to be more of a hands-on learner, which is why I know I'll succeed in my assignment and my level of enjoyment. Throughout this project, I want to achieve a well-rounded understanding of combustion engineering by designing and creating a plasma gun. In addition to how I'll gain that understanding, I'll be gathering research online about this topic I have chosen by how it's constructed and the materials that are required to do so, all of which will be included within this video. These ideas are able to help and shape my learning goal, which is to gain an understanding on combustion itself and the engineering behind it by constructing a plasma gun. These ideas on my mind map help me get my own mind straight and be able to know which step-by-step tasks are needed to take in order to complete this. I feel my learning is best suited so that I have to follow instructions, so I'm not left clueless whatsoever at any point throughout an assignment. I don't have a calendar or anything that specifies a certain time that I dedicate to the progress and research of my project. However, I take it upon my own responsibility to do those during the weekends if I don't have any plans. And it's been efficient for my time management. I've selected and applied strategies by finding sources online about the construction of my plasma gun, how it works and what materials are required. All 10 sources and strategies will be in a document linked alongside this video. 2 of the sources, however, I am able to show here. I messaged my science teacher through Daymap for questions I had about the science behind my project. My second source was from me, interviewing an older man who had worked in a gas company for 20 years. His name is Phil. Unfortunately, I couldn't get in contact with him directly. He's a client of my mom's work. I could only get one question answered through her. I asked my mom to ask him why does the gun release the gas in sort of a mushroom cloud when shot. What I was able to learn from Phil was that it's not plasma and it's just gas and fire making an explosion. He had said that when the gas is lit by the fire in a confined space, it has nowhere to go. The plastic tubes act as that confined space which lead the gas through to the exit, which is my combustion chambers. The big blast radius is because of the gas and fire being built up so much to the point where the blast radius can sometimes resemble a mushroom cloud. The articles were the most helpful with how the development of my overall understanding on my project and the science behind it, because they both make connections and link with 2 other sources. Some challenges I encountered with gathering information was that I was under the assumption that it's plasma being formed when it's not. This warped and changed my whole perspective on my project and put me in a state of confusion for a little while. Getting an interview with Phil was something I also wanted to do in person, but the information my mom got for me was helpful enough as it is. I made adjustments to my learning by choosing to use the bigger bottles rather than smaller bottles for my project, when most sources I could find don't. I initially was going to use smaller bottles but decided bigger bottles were a much better option for my assignment and were overall more visually pleasing. I decided to talk to my science teacher, Miss Suchi. I was confused by what Phil had said by how it's not plasma. I learned through a ChatGPT and a Google search that gas and fire don't just form plasma. Both those and Miss Suchi helped me understand that it's a combustion explosion that's happening, not plasma. There weren't really any differences with the perspectives of both my sources from 2 different sources. They both explain how combustion happens, and they both correlate with the other 8 sources I used for my overall project and research. The only people I received genuine feedback back from that helped shape my understanding and perspective on my project were Phil and Miss Suchi, both who I consider professional experts in such topic. My understanding was further developed on with learning what actually is going on inside the contraption, which is combustion and not plasma, which is what I initially thought, since most sources mistakenly say so, as compared to before, when prior to my discussions with them both, my understanding wasn't so strong. I reacted to this feedback by changing my perspective and research entirely, from the understanding and science behind plasma to combustion.
This is my drawn out diagram for my plasma gun, and starting off, here's the MAP gas. Contains propylene, methylene and acetylene, and these gas elements go through the plastic vinyl tubing, and because there's a swirl, it creates acceleration, which will eventually reach the back of the first combustion chamber. All the fire-inch stuff will go in there, goes into the small tube, then back into another big one, and out like that, which is what I want to achieve, that big blast. The second combustion chamber will have a bigger cut hole on the end of it, which I've also drawn here in this other diagram. Fire comes out there, and the first one here has a little cut hole in the back, so the vinyl tube can enter through.
MAP gas tank, plastic vinyl tubing, tape and zip ties, combustion chambers, which are really just 2 emptied out to gallon jugs of water. The reason behind why the plastic vinyl tubing is being heated up is because the tubing wouldn't fit around the nozzle so easily. Heat will allow me to create a seal, which is airtight and prevent any gas leaks when it's time for test shooting. The gas is released and then ignited. Because of the oxygen within the tubes, it creates a combustion reaction which continues to accelerate until it reaches the combustion chambers, which are not shown to have been made just yet during this testing.
Here.
How's that? It looks fucking great. Yeah.
Test. Let's hope it doesn't blow up in our faces.
Oh my god, I'm a bit scared.
Keep holding. Hold it. Yes! Fuck.
It's important to mention that the plasma gun I've made isn't actually creating any plasma. This is more fire and combustion, not plasma. A plasma gun using MAP gas isn't actually shooting plasma in the scientific sense. Instead, it's likely creating a small, rapid combustion reaction, which can produce a bright flash and hot gas that might be mistaken for plasma. The reason it may be mistaken for plasma is because plasma is created when a gas is ionized to the point where electrons are freed from atoms, resulting in a group of charged particles. Plasma requires extremely high temperatures or strong electromagnetic fields to form, and a single tank of MAP gas is unable to produce that much thermal energy in the first place, so it's not plasma. When the gas is ignited in a confined space, which here, being the plastic tubes, the gas combusts explosively. The gun is actually a combustion gun or cannon. The only reason I use the term plasma gun is because every source online does so, not even knowing that it's not plasma at all. The bright flash that gets mistaken for being plasma is just the result of the high energy reaction that went off once the gas was lit by the flame. Now that it's been established that the gun is actually flames and combustion, and not plasma, the final reflection can now be moved on to completing now that I've reached the near end of this assignment. I've not only learned how to make a fully functional contraption that produces flames through combustion, which has allowed me to now have a much more further developed understanding on combustion and mechanical engineering, but I also learned that I am capable of anything I put my mind to, as long as I have the right support and tools to guide me. I've discovered that my determination is something I have utilized to the best of my abilities throughout this assignment. I did not encounter any roadblocks beside my time management. I had other things in my life to focus on alongside this assignment and other tasks in other subjects. However, I was able to complete it before the due date.